Hello again and welcome. Michael Pizzolla here. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Value Capping Rant. And it's finally here, the 2014 Kentucky Derby. This will be the Kentucky Derby Rant. Breaking news at the top of the rant. I'm speaking to you now on Thursday morning, May 1st, 2014. The Derby is 2 days away. But this morning there was news that Opportunity, one of the favorites in the Derby, is going to be scratched. In fact, is scratched. It's nothing serious, according to, I think I read an interview with Baffert, I think it was. Just a sore foot or something, but he's hoping for the Preakness. So that kind of changes the complexion of the betting line and so forth, because that was one of the second favorite in the race. But before I go on to some of the details about the Derby, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Pizzolla. I'm author of the best-selling Handicapping Magic, co-author of Pace Makes the Race. I am the publisher of the original online racing forum, and I'm now the publisher of the Post Time Daily 2.0. I think it's the best past performance on the planet. Also the handicapping software Black Magic Ultimate Handicapper. And I will be taking the races apart with that. We'll go and sit down on the computer. It'll be as if you're looking over my shoulder, and we will take the races apart. A little bit of talk about Kentucky and Churchill Downs. I may not be able to bet this race in Las Vegas. The powers that be at Churchill Downs decided to up the parimutuel takeout on win bets from 16 to 17.5%, on exotics from 19 to 22%. May not sound like a lot, but a 10 to 15% increase in what is being taken out of every dollar. Certainly not great for the horse player. And their rationale was they needed to increase purses for the horse owners. But I think it may be a bit short-sighted in that we, the investors, the horse players, we are the ones who drive the industry, the ability to keep the entire industry going. And I was saddened to see that, saddened at the timing, coming just before the Derby. And now there's a controversy between the Las Vegas books and casinos and Churchill. From what I heard, Churchill's position is that their handle is not that much in Las Vegas, and they can afford to lose that and make it up with the increase in parimutuel takeout. Again, I think that's short-sighted. Of course, I'm sad I won't be able to bet the Derby. There is an off chance I might get on a plane and go down there. I do have I had an invite. I said no. I've got another last-minute invite. So we'll have to see how that pans out. I really do hope that it works out well for everything and everyone concerned. For those of you who don't like to watch all this technical stuff, not a big surprise. Black Magic Ultimate Handicapper, which I will be taking you through, puts California Chrome right on top. I would be surprised if it didn't. However, as I warn you every time I do a big race, and I warned you last week in the email that I sent, this race is a puzzle. There are 11 horses above random. That means so many horses can win. A horse that interests me very much, excuse me, when I refer to horse, these are obviously colts. They're 3-year-olds in the Derby. A colt that interests me is the 8 General A-Rod. Very interesting, third place finish in the Florida Derby behind Wildcat Red and Constitution. Constitution's not running in the Derby. I'm going to be looking very carefully at that for a win bet. From my pace analysis, and again, I'll take you through that, I think there's going to be a lot of speed in the race, and although General A-Rod has been close to the pace, I think he can come off the pace. I think his numbers indicate that he can. I'm also going to be looking at some of the deeper closers like Dances with Fate. I'm going to be looking, I forget the name, the 16 Intense Holiday, which is next down, who's got a little bit of a closing kick. And of course, I'll use Wildcat Red and General A-Rod because they come out of the same race, the Florida Derby. So I'm really looking forward to showing you my analysis. I think I've got a fairly decent bet this year. Most years it's going to be a pass. This year, the race is a mess as well, but there is a little bit of, I can't say opportunity, it's a little bit of opportunity to find a good value investment. As always, I ask you to look at the undercards, not just at Churchill, but the other races around the country. There's a lot of quote-unquote amateur money around on Derby Day, leaving big opportunities. So without further delay, thanks for joining me. Come and sit down. For those of you who don't want any technical stuff and you've had enough, thanks for joining us. But for those of you who want to see the technical stuff, come and sit, look over my shoulder, and I'll take you through that. So let's go. All right, so welcome to this part of the 2014 Kentucky Derby value capping rant. And in this part, I want to sit with you so you can look over my shoulder, as it were, and look how I take apart a race. Listen, it doesn't really matter about the outcome of any given race. It's a race. And don't give up the biggest advantage that you have, which is to pick the races that you decide to invest, in which you decide to invest. That's huge. Now, you know, look, if we're fans of the game, we want to have a bet on the Derby just to have a bet on the Derby. And that's okay. A few times a year, that's fine. But as a regular thing, it will eat up your bankroll. Having said that, in this year's Kentucky Derby, opportunity was scratched this morning. I'm talking to you on Thursday, May 1st, 2014. I imagine that means Pablo Del Monte, the also eligible, the 21, good Lord, will be in there. If you look at the Black Magic screen, there's a huge amount of information on it, and it's going to be difficult to go in and out with the 20 colts. Forgive me if I say horse instead of colt. So bear with me. I will talk you through it. The very first thing to notice, this red line, these are the horses above random. So in other words, random in the race is 19 to 1 because any horse, colt, has a 1 chance to win, 19 chances to lose at random. So we're not anything above 18 to 1. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 horses above random. That's nuts. Most of the races I play have, 4, 3, and you can look at them. The other thing is look at where the odds begin, 11 to 1. That means even if I'm exactly right in making my line, if they run the race 12 times, California Chrome should win once. Now, no matter how good the line is, you're not going to take a short price on that colt. So this, from a strictly betting, investing point of view, is not a great investment race, just from that. Having said that, everyone wants to say, who do you like, who do you like, who do you like? Well, okay. One more thing. These will indicate reversal races. For those of you who don't know, they're horses that ran against each other last time. The W means the horse beat the other horse. If it doesn't have a W, it lost in that. There are 6 reversals in this race. Well, of course, they're all coming from the big preps. California Chrome with Victor Espinoza and Art Sherman, the exercise rider for Swaps, when Swaps beat, Nashua in 55. I was not at the track that day, perhaps in spirit, but just won the Santa Anita Derby in great style, and General A-Rod was third in the Florida Derby to Wildcat Red and Constitution, who is not in the race. So you can go through. In fact, you could sort by that and see. Wicked Strong, who won the Wood Memorial, and the other horses out of that race will be indicated Reversal Protocol 1. Reversal Protocol 2 is the Dance with Fate, who won the Bluegrass and the other one. So usually there's one reversal race in a normal race, and here we have 6. Another part of the puzzle. This year's Kentucky Derby is indicated as highly pressured. And what does that mean? Lots of speed. So that's interesting. We have a feature called acupressure that you could look at, and you see all those colts at each other's throat. Now, it looks like Chitu may try to get a big lead in the first call. Harry's Holiday may try to get a lead at the second call. It'll be pressed perhaps by Wildcat Red. We see General A-Rod show up. The need to lead, we see Vickers in trouble. That means if he doesn't get the lead, he's in trouble. So I think Rosie, and I always mess up her last name, Navaprinik. So Rosie has to gun this horse from the rail. By the way, they just announced that they're, I think she got DQ'd for her ride on Baron, which put embellishing Bob up. And they're not going to make her serve her suspension until after the Derby. So anyway, Rosie will be gunning Vickers in trouble. Not sure he can get the lead even with that, because it's coming out of the one post. So, it should be. Here's a very interesting thing. We see General A-Rod a little bit part of the pace in the first and second call. We also see him as one of the closers, which is a very good thing to have in a highly pressured race. Now, one thing I will do sometimes is I will go over to our free software, which is Post Time Daily. This is the original online racing form. This is it. And it's so chock full of features and all the rest. But when I am really looking to see what the pace scenario may look like, I will use the controls. Now, the way we used to do this is we used to draw circles, literally draw circles in the printed form. And we would say, okay, Vickers in trouble was on the lead, 47-4, draw a circle around the 47-4. He was on the lead, 112-1. And you compare all of that. Well, thank heavens for computers. We can hit a simple key, which is the control key and the E key, and this will show us the colts who are on the lead in the first and second call. And you can go through, you see Vickers in trouble, 47-4, 112-1. I'm going to sort just routes, control and R. And now we're looking Uncle Si, 48-2, 112-4. You're trying to get a general idea. California Chrome, here's one of the, questions last time. Good Lord, 45-2, 109-2. The racing form style variant is 0, which is very, very low. Who knows what that track was like in the San Felipe? Well, according to my numbers, when you adjust it down, it wasn't that fast a race. Samrat got on top of a very fast pace, and so forth. Wildcat Red, 48-1, 112. Opportunity, who is out. And very simply, we just get rid of him right now. There you go, and he shows up scratched. Oh, God, I love this software. And so forth. You can go through. Tapiture was on the lead. But here's where the software shines. You can take all of the filters off. And again, we're going to ask it to show me routes, that's Control R, where the horse is within, where the colts are within a certain amount of lengths at the first and second call. And now you see virtually every horse likes to press the pace. Well, these are potential champions and champions, so that's not a surprise. Oh, we see General A-Rod kind of close to the pace, and so forth. So there are a lot of horses. So this confirms our lookout that this Kentucky Derby may favor the late runners because of all of the early speed. Now, California Chrome is on top. I can't really, not going to bet him as a favorite, obviously. And, boy, this colt has had just 4 tremendous wins in California. And here's one thing, if I had to have a knock on California Chrome. The software went back and took a Del Mar 5.5 furlong race. You may say, why did it do that? Well, that's the way the software does. And does it. And it's done in a way to get price and yet not be too ridiculous. But you can play little what-if games. So if we right-click and exclude this line, look what happens. California Chrome drops down to 4th place on the line. leaving General A-Rod on top. So, that's an interesting point, and another reason that I'm a little interested in A-Rod. Now, why would I eliminate that 163? Well, that San Felipe, that Santa Anita Derby, the Santa Anita Derby was, the San Felipe was run on that 0 variant, and the Santa Anita Derby, which, California Chrome just blew them out, doesn't earn such a good aggregate pace number. In fact, the 151 is not great in this field. So, although, a very nice colt, I will use him in exotics. I mean, after all, he's the fulcrum. I'm looking beneath him on the line, and that brings us to General A-Rod. Now, 5 lifetime starts, never out of the money. But interestingly, it started out coming from way off the pace at Keeneland. 7 furlong, don't like to see those asterisks. And ever since then, it's been second, first, second, third in route races, 2 miles as a, earlier November and then January. And then the Fountain of Youth almost won, got second. The Florida Derby, it got third. Now, why do I think this colt may come from off the pace? Well, first of all, it did it in its first race. The other thing is it's going to be in the 8, somewhere in the middle of the pack. I don't think this colt has the speed to get the lead. And I think Joel Rosario, who won last year on Orb, Orb was the first favorite to win. I mean, not much of a favorite, 5-1 or something. Not much of a favorite, but he said the same thing about General A-Rod that he said about Orb last year, which was, this is a horse that I can do a lot with. It's a very versatile horse, and that's what it looks like to me. Here's what's really interesting. You notice those last 2 races where it was very much a pressing of the pace. Then you look over to the energy expenditure and you see a 50.93 and a 51.93. What that means is late. That's good in a late race. Okay. So I think General A-Rod will be able to make that to make that move and run more like he did when he won his maiden. Now, if he gets stuck in traffic, can't get through all the rest of that, there goes the bet. I'm looking to a strong 15-1 and up. If they make this colt, third favorite, and he's sitting there at 5 or 6-1, I'd probably pass on him. If we want to look at the numbers on the on Black Magic, the actual velocity numbers, we see that in the primary pace, which is second call, Harry's Holiday, not surprisingly. By the way, trained by the same trainer, Michael Maker, as General A-Rod, right? So that 89 and 85 are pretty strong in the race. For late fractions, we see Dance with Fate and Intense Holiday. Now, if we go back to odds, we see those same 2 colts underneath, Dance with Fate and Intense Holiday. In fact, let me reset this. Oh, by the way, this program looks a little different than yours. I'm using an experimental version, but the part that is not experimental is Black Magic. It's the same as those of you who use Black Magic have, okay? In any event, Dance with Fate, I mean, this is obviously a closer, close, win. Just won the Bluegrass in very nice style. Very strong late fraction, good in a pressured race. Outside, but not too far outside. Intense Holiday runs that way a little bit too, closer. So with that, one last thing on General A-Rod, which is, by the way, not named after the Yankee Alex Rodriguez, but after the Colts owner. So let's just get that straight for you Yankee haters out there. Okay, so happen to be a Yankee fan, but this is not A-Rod, because otherwise it would be an absolute hunch bet. Kidding. Let's get back to work. Now, General A-Rod is third start after layoff, and this is a classic pattern. Another pattern is when a horse or a colt in this case, is a reverser. In this case, of course, he's reversing. He's reversing against Wildcat Red, who was second in the Florida Derby. Again, Constitution, the actual winner of the race, is not, because he had a hairline fracture and so forth. But General A-Rod, take a look, has a layoff between January 1st and February 22nd and runs a very, very, very hard race. If you look at our numbers, it equaled his top lifetime race, 160.8. This is, I think, a classic performance bounce. In other words, I think he went backwards in the Florida Derby. And even though he went backwards, he still, got third place money. If he runs back to that 160.8, he is going to be very, very dangerous in this race, especially if he is taken from off the pace. So that's going to be my the one I'll look to. We call those, by the way, a 5-star reverser when it's a third start after a layoff and reversing another horse in the race. I definitely will use some of the late horses toward the top of the line, Dance with Fate and Intense Holiday. I'll probably make tickets with and without California Chrome. I'd like to beat him, but why not? I would take a try in Superbox with California Chrome, General A-Rod, Dance with Fate, Intense Holiday, and then one without General A-Rod, Dance with Fate, Intense Holiday, and Tapeteer. I'm also going to use Wildcat Red. Why? Because it's the reversal winner. So they often finish second, and they often run with the other horses from that race. So definitely a General A-Rod, Wildcat Red, exacta box and straight, 8-10 box, 8-10 straight. So that's the way I will structure my ticket. And I hope you get an idea of how there are so many tools in Black Magic and in the upcoming Value Capper, which hopefully will be out later this year, that will allow you to really get to the heart of a race, even a race as complicated as the Kentucky Derby. Unlike past years, I do have a better sense of this race. Again, it's still a messy race, yes, but I think with all things considered, at a good solid 15, 20 to 1, I think General A-Rod is worth an investment, especially when we have some of these very, very long shots who can be closing. Now, California Chrome gets loose, and I was wrong about that number, and he wires the field, so be it. It's another race, another bet. If Vickers in Trouble gets out there with Cheeto, and they just wire the field, maybe Harry Holiday comes and picks it up. But I'm calling for pressured. I'm looking at the race Thursday morning. I don't know what the weather will be like. None of us do, of course. So if it comes up money, I think that will support my analysis of favoring the later running horses. If it comes up really sloppy with lots of water on the track, I'm probably going to have to relook at it and play the race from an early perspective, if at all. So that's it. I'm favoring at this point, if I get a price, General A-Rod. I will use Dance with Fate and Intense Holiday with him. I will have, of course, California Chrome more underneath than on top. I will use Wildcat Red, and then we'll see what the prices bring. So that's the technical part of this value capping rant. Well, that's it for this year's Kentucky Derby value capping rant. I really hope you enjoy the 2014 Kentucky Derby. I hope that you have all the best of luck on Derby weekend, and I hope this finds you well. Until next time, this is Michael Pizzolla saying, take care, enjoy, and let the bet make you. I'll talk to you soon.